Hello, Steve White, Triple 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I think this is going to be a shorter review, season overview. I liked the fourth season. The first season was had issues. Second season was interesting, still had issues. Nowhere near as big as the first season. Third season had a lot of issues. Fourth season just worked from the start to the finish, and actually felt like Star Trek for a few episodes. I felt like I was watching Star Trek again for a few weeks. I enjoyed it the first time, and it was better the second time. Fifth season, it was as well produced, to be clear, but it went on this sort of MacGuffin quest, Indiana Jones style sort of relic hunt, which I don't really enjoy. So I think other people who like Indiana Jones or Lara Croft probably would have enjoyed this season more. But that's more just my personal taste. I don't think it's actually a flaw. I don't think the season's actually bad. But it does get to a point where it is just sort of cat and mouse, where they're sort of chasing the bad guys for the season and just trying to both racing to get to these pieces of this puzzle. And then, of course, the battle with the Breen and all that goes for a few episodes, and it is very much... I got to a point where I'm just like, okay, just end this up already, or have something happen, because it's just cat and mouse, fight for a couple of episodes. And it's really only the last episode where we deal with the progenitors and their technology in that, because that's basically what it's all about. They discover this Romulan artifact. Someone was trying to locate the progenitors, and they had found apparently where they were, and they had a map, and the map was in pieces, so they had to have to go around all these different planets like Trill, and a couple of sort of sophisticated planets, one that sort of has some Prime Directive issues, and then they have to go to also... did she have to go there for a part, or was it just for more information? But she has to go to this library that moves around different places in the universe to keep herself safe, and that was an amazing set, and all the set extensions, and that was just... I could have lived there forever. That was amazing. So there were a few good episodes, standalone episodes, and we had the issue with this first Saru standing down on a new first officer who was a captain from another ship who kind of got demoted, but then Burnham brought him on as number one because she felt he would be good to challenge her. And he's kind of annoying because it's like you're coming onto someone else's ship and you're trying to make them do everything your way. So there's a fair bit of frustration there, but there's an interesting time travel episode, kind of cause and effect-ish, but it was interesting, and obviously I'll go through that in my episode by episode. But overall, the season was good. I did enjoy it, but it just wasn't my type of adventure. But they did seem to get past some of the issues they had in season 1 and 3, which were the most problematic ones. 2 had some issues, but it wasn't as bad. But we still sort of had Michael sort of ending up sort of being the one person taking on the main sort of surviving bad guy, and that, and it's sort of like, Saint Michael again. It's like, could we not have had a really nice, ensemble teamwork scenario? It always seems to be Michael alone against like the big bad, or the sort of final sort of solution or something. It gets a bit tiresome. I'm like, how many more seasons can they sort of do the same sort of story? And I was thinking that, because like I said, it does seem towards the end, you sort of just, the last couple of episodes, like 11 and 12, is just sort of fighting and chasing the sort of the bad guys for like, the last sort of couple of episodes. Then the very last episode, it's mostly, they're still fighting the Breen on the outside, but it's Michael inside this technology and trying to work it out. She eventually speaks to the progenitors, and there's some surprises there. I guess you don't care. The progenitors found the technology, they didn't create it. So it does leave some mystery about who created it. It doesn't answer everything. The Next Generation episode did seem a bit anticlimactic, because we just answered all the questions to life in the galaxy. Basically, these people basically seeded the whole galaxy, and because they wanted more people like them, because they were the only ones that evolved on their own. And I never really totally liked that. So the idea that they just were alone and seeded, the galaxy, but they didn't create that technology. Someone created them. In theory, it just leaves a bit of mystery in the universe, which I do prefer. So I was afraid they were going to ruin that storyline by touching something from Next Gen, but I feel like they made it more interesting, so I'm fine with that. But then the epilogue they had apparently was tacked on. They had a little bit of money left over. I don't know if they were given money to do an extra shoot, a few days shooting, or if they had money put aside for reshoots, and they were just able to allocate that to basically creating an epilogue where we have Burnham leaving her home from a family and going to Discovery, having a little memory of it's like a memory of a reunion, but it's like a reunion where they were meeting on the bridge, but it's just her memory. Where we get to have the cast back for one last time, except Wilson Cruz apparently wasn't there, and you can kind of tell there's one close-up of him, and the other shots look like an extra in his outfit, his costume, and then there's just one close-up, and his neck doesn't quite look right, like it's like they blue-screened him in or something. But yeah, so they just have this weird sort of memory reunion, and then she basically tells Zora, we're going to go to these coordinates and you're going to stay there and wait. And they sort of de-refit the ship to some sort of extent so it looks like it does in Calypso, because apparently they felt the need to connect it to Calypso without actually explaining Calypso or why she's there or what the Red Order was, because apparently it's a Red Order, even though Daniels, who, Cronenberg was revealed as Daniels, even though he sort of said there wouldn't be any Red Orders anymore, or Red Code or whatever it was, they still apparently had one more, and that's what this is, where she takes the Discovery out one more time. There's like the whole sort of fleet of shuttles waiting to sort of like an honor guard for her to leave. And then they just, go to warp, and presumably she left the ship there and came back, and we don't know why. And it's kind of annoying that they didn't explain it, and whether it's because they couldn't work out how to make it work, or if they just wanted to leave it a mystery. It wasn't meant to be a mystery the whole time. I don't know. But it was an okay ending for an okay season for a very problematic series that I hated initially, and there's still huge problems with season 1 and 3. But season 2 was bearable, season 4 was actually good, and season 5 was okay. It was well done. It just wasn't the kind of story that really interested me. The sort of MacGuffin hunt for the artifact, that those parts didn't really work for me. But the individual episodes, some of them were quite interesting. So I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of season 5 of Star Trek Discovery, and how you thought the ending, how you thought it concluded.